Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, among others, and most recently, most notably, Black Swan, for which she is nominated for an Oscar award. Here's Kababayan Pride, Matthew Libatique.
I was driving to work. I got up very early that day, and I know that the nominations were coming out at 5 a.m. LA time, and I was working. I was driving from Los Feliz to Malibu, and I was in the canyon heading my way to the set, and my wife called me from Uruguay. I didn't even turn the radio on, actually, because I didn't want to find out. I kind of wanted somebody else to tell me. I didn't want to. I was too nervous. So she called me and asked me if I had known. So she was already watching it, and she had missed the announcement for cinematography, but then she started searching online. And it was kind of nerve-wracking while she's clicking on the keyboard trying to figure out if I got nominated or not, and then she just screamed. And I said, what? And I'm driving, I'm driving in the dark on Malibu Canyon Road, and she said, "You've been nominated for an Oscar. You made it." And I was just I couldn't. It was a relief. It was a relief.
What was the first thing that came to mind, and who was the first person you called? Obviously, your wife, you found out with her, but then mostly people would call their mom, their wife, their husband.
Oh, I called my kids. Well, I finally arrived to set, and I was, of course, happy. I was in a great mood. And I show up, and I saw my crew that was unloading equipment, and they just were smiling.
Right, they knew.
And they started to cheer. And then when I got the camera set up for the first setup that day, they brought me a bottle of champagne. This was like 7:30 in the morning. Right. I drank it, and then we got in trouble by the park ranger because we were shooting in a national park. But I called my kids first. And I wanted to share it with them because they were on their way to school, and I wanted to know if they knew.
How big is this? I mean, obviously earlier you were giving a rundown of some of the awards that you've won, one in your first year also, some prestigious awards, but how big is this for you?
It's huge. I mean, and I can't downplay it. It would be dishonest to say it's not probably the most phenomenal thing ever to happen. And it's actually caused me to be able to reflect a little bit on my career, which I don't do because I'm always moving at 100 miles an hour. So, to stop and experience this week has been about enjoying not only this experience but all the other experiences, because I actually have stopped to slow down and look at everything, so it's caused me to do that. And you get very reflective because it's just this moment. I feel the moment bigger because it's so important to everybody else.
You're contemplating now in your career, but even before that, some of your fans have been following you closely. We're very proud of your accomplishments. But what do you think keeps you grounded? I mean, to us, to your fans, this all seems surreal. This all is something that, is very weird. It's not a normal occurrence to us. But to somebody like you who's living it, what keeps you grounded?
I think I just grew up that way. I come from a lower middle class family, and my parents are immigrants. They came in 1967. I was born a year later. I think I just was instilled with a humility. And I think generally as a Filipino, I find that most Filipinos have a lot of humility, and that's why it's amazing to see people like Apple and Manny Pacquiao out there doing their thing. And even if you look at Manny, he's probably one of the greatest boxers ever to walk the face of the earth, and he's probably the most humble. And I think that comes from our culture. I think that's ingrained in us as people. I don't think I've met an arrogant Filipino in my life. And I think that the successes that we've had has been amazing. The success I've had has been amazing, but I think that I always keep an eye on being thankful.
Right. But aside from being humble and being thankful, do you think being Filipino is there something about being Filipino that particularly helped you with the career that you're in now, lensing in Hollywood?
I think that growing up Filipino American, we assimilate probably better than any other culture. I mean, as a people, we can mix in with any culture, any subculture, and I feel like because of that trait that maybe I have, and I think other Filipinos have as well, I think that I'm able to gravitate towards different communities of filmmakers and work with different kinds of people and understand where they're coming from, and actually not always talk but always listen. Right. And I think that comes from my upbringing.
What about the eye for drama? They say Filipinos are very melodramatic people.
Maybe I used to like a lot of sugar in my coffee, so and I really don't know. I can't put a finger on exactly what it is, but I'm sure there's a contribution.
All right, last two questions. What do you think will you be doing the night before the Oscars, Saturday night?
I hope I'll be holding a Independent Spirit Award.
We have no doubt. What about the night of the Oscars?
I think I'm going to try to enjoy the moment, meet as many cool people as possible, meet people like Mr. Brainwash and Tom Ford, and just have a blast.
Mabuhay ang galing ng Pilipino. Ako po si Janelle So, ang inyong kababayan dito sa Los Angeles. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday.
Alam namin mahalaga ang inyong oras dahil laging busy ang mga Pinoy. Kaya naman simple lang dapat ang pagpapadala ng pera saan man